Familia Bella, continuamos en Radio Bizarro. Esto es música para el resto de nosotros. Y bueno, llega la oportunidad de entrevistar a una banda que nos ha gustado muchísimo desde el primer momento.
We love them.
Sí, ¿tú te acuerdas que hemos puesto la canción E.T.
Yes.
de Busty and the Bass un montón? Es una de las canciones que más nos han gustado en la rotación. Y por supuesto, como saben todos, siempre buscamos la manera de que la curación de Radio Bizarro esté siempre compuesta por música nueva y sobre todo por una banda que es una banda de electro soul, que hacen una música exquisita y que usted tiene la oportunidad de conocer mucho más sobre ello porque tenemos al bajista de Busty and the Bass. Here is with us Milo from Busty and the Bass.
Hello.
Bienvenido a Radio Bizarro. How you doing, Milo?
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
There you go.
You're going to pop that Spanish ever so often then.
As much as I can. I never get Spanish interviews, so this is just like, I'll throw it in when I can.
Oh my God.
Great.
We love that. We love that.
Yeah.
We tend to do the show in Spanglish anyway, so this is convenient.
Absolutely.
Well,
Right.
we'd love to actually ask this question, and is, what were you doing right before you spoke with us in this interview?
Be honest.
Right before this call, I was actually writing out the music for our whole live set because I have a sub that I'm bringing in because a friend is getting married. So I have like a different bass players playing a couple of shows this summer. So I was just writing out the full set, and it's a lot. I've like never done it before, and I'm like, damn, this is a ton of work.
Whoa. Like how many
that's what I was doing
songs?
right before.
Like how many songs?
Like 18 songs, like full charts. It's yeah.
What is
big
it, 4
undertaking,
hours
but I
wedding?
have a-
Is it gonna be a
It's
4 hour?
no, it's like they're short songs, but anyways. So that was
Whoa.
my activity before this. Yeah.
Oh man, transcribing and everything. Gosh, that must have been something quite rigorous. Well, we are here in Radio Bizarro. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. We truly love the soulful, kind of jazzy aspect and also the hip hop because it's something that we really heard in the latest album, Carnival, which is your guys' latest release. How has been this latest release?
Super fun. We just got to play a couple of shows with like the full group that we had recorded it with. So it was 10 people on stage.
Great.
And it was awesome. It was like the first time that we've done that kind of thing where it was sort of like a specialized tour around a specific project. So yeah, really fun. I loved the record. Like it's I was pretty hands off for certain parts of it, and it took like a lot of the pandemic. So I feel like I was actually able to stay pretty fresh on it. And yeah, I just really love how it turned out.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's so much info you just said right now. Like we can dissect everything. I would like to know 10 people. That is
10
insane.
people.
Wow. How is this synchronicity? I think that's the word. But with working with 10 people, that's quite a public.
That's a headache.
Yeah. No, it was good. It's like this was our first like run of shows back since like early 2020. So I've been like over 2 years since the beginning of the pandemic. So it was like, I think everybody was really excited to get back on stage. We've got a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of checked bags, and we figured it out.
Is that the full band, or you guys introduced some instruments for this particular EP?
We brought in a couple of outside vocalists to work on the project.
Vocalist, specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Wow.
Tell us about the creative process behind the bass of Busty and the Bass. Knowing that
For
you
this-
are the one who plays the bass.
For Carnival? Or in
Yeah,
general?
For
Yes,
Carnival.
for Carnival
For
specifically.
Carnival. So what was fun about this one is I had actually just gotten a 6-string bass.
Oh.
So like it's the Patitucci like Yamaha 6-string bass. I had just gotten it like right before we got into the studio.
Okay.
So I was like playing around with, more bass chords and like doing stuff like doubled with the guitar, but it sounds a lot thicker when you have both guitar and bass doing it like in different octave. So that was super fun. That was like I had never gotten to do that before, but if you actually listen like to the record, you'll hear it seems like it is a guitar, but actually if you dive into it, it's like bass chords on a bunch of that.
Is there a song
Um,
specifically where we can highlight this specific kind of method?
yeah, I mean, Memories About You for sure, and Merry Go Round. Those two, like, I'm doing that all over the place.
I love Merry Go
Um,
Round. It's such a good track.
yeah, and then the other fun tidbit about this one is actually I'm playing piano on My Parade, so it's my piano debut with the band on that track.
Oh my God, how many instruments do you play?
Uh, it depends on, do you count contrabass and electric bass as two instruments?
Of course,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Okay, so I play like four.
Okay, which are
That's great.
both basses, the piano and what else?
Cello.
That's shallow.
Oh, that's so random. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's just a smaller bass, you know, with
Yeah.
Yeah.
different strings.
Have you had the chance to play the cello in Busty and the bass?
Yeah, the first track on the project, Lumberjack Beards, that's me on strings.
Oh,
Great.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Tell us about the instruments that are completing the whole band.
So we're uh, two like keyboard players, drums, guitar, bass, vocals, and then trombone, trumpet, and then we brought in some outside like other instruments as well. But that's like the core group.
How are you guys mixing the electronic sounds that are so used during these days with the acoustic bass that you guys have with all these instruments?
Well, so we have like two keyboard players who each have two keyboards, so they can kind of like put, you know, you can put a ton of different sounds between their four hands collectively,
Yeah.
and they're both really good. Like they both like fly all over the keyboard, so it's it's a nice limitation, but you can do pretty much anything because they happen to plug in anything. It's yeah, sort of open season.
Yeah.
Great.
I guess. I do want to know because the band is such big band with a lot of really talented people and such a great groove. Like it's music that you can truly enjoy. Is the creation process when it comes to the music or at least this latest album, taking in consideration that part of it was also made within the pandemic. How did you manage who creates the lyrics if there's lyrics, there are also rappers. Do they write their songs with the invited guests that you had in the latest album, and who situates like what goes in the album too?
So yeah, so this project was pretty unique in that we actually brought the two main vocalists, STS and Jordan Brown, to Montreal. So they were staying with us for like maybe a weekend writing right there. So like as everybody was there, which we don't normally do. And then it's been a gradual process of like the last 2 years, kind of like putting the finishing touches on things. But yeah, most of it just took place kind of in this 1 week that they were visiting us in Montreal.
Their collaboration or the entire album process?
Most of like the writing process. So we like recorded almost like all of the base level of things, and then would we recorded a few things afterwards, but like the majority of the record was written in like about a week.
Perfect. What do you think about the soul and the neo soul and the electro soul that you guys are doing in terms of industry? Do you think people is aware of all this that is happening in the genre, or do you think that people will actually connect with the soul itself again as it was in the 60s and in the 70s in a mainstream way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at an interesting spot now where it's like genre isn't as much of a factor because I feel
Hmm.
like people just bounce from you'll be listening to a playlist that happens to have a ton of stuff and is grouped by like makes you think of sunset or something like that. So I feel like people aren't listening specifically to like a radio station that plays this genre. You're like kind of consuming different vibes. So for me, I feel like the voices on this record and like the intention behind it is pretty consistent. But then in terms of the styles, it sort of goes a bunch of different places. But I think it does it plays really nicely from front to back. Like you can listen to it and you go to a bunch of different places.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I think
yeah.
something that helped you guys out to make it is having a rapper in the band and mixing it with jazz and soul. How do you make that work?
I mean, he's super versatile. So yeah, STS, his name's Slim. Um, he's a poet and like a writer and
You
Oh,
were saying
Jesse.
he does poetry.
Yes.
So get back on the
yeah, and
track.
I think what's nice is when you have like a voice that is that distinct,
Uh
you
huh.
can really do so much under it. But that's what people will lock onto. And yeah, I think with this project, it's a really good example of that, where it's just like his voice is put into so many different contexts. But yeah, it like everything is supported.
Yes, it is.
And
We
that also helps and the emotions that any EP or album should bring to people. Obviously, having a rapper helps a lot to get in a certain mood that you need to feel during the song, not necessarily the entire song, but during the song. It helps it to be a sort of journey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I do agree. The song we're currently playing is Everything Comes in Waves. That was one of the songs. It's one of the first songs, and it was the one that really struck us like, wow, this is not only is it a really great radio friendly song, but also it's just such a great groove, and I like the contrast. Was it a creative decision, although you guys have worked with more hip hop and kind of rap sounds? Was it the decision to keep this, and is there any plan to keep this kind of structure with the more neo and jazzy, including hip hop and rap, in future upcoming music releases?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think this one's like one of my favorites on the project. Because I think it puts like just a modern spin on dance music. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that you should like just because something has like an MC on it doesn't mean it needs to always be a hip hop beat. And I think it's really what we're trying to do is find like our own take on modern dance music. And I think for this one, it's like it's hard to make a sophisticated dance track, and I think that we did it really well. Um, and yeah, I think just like the blending the different elements that we did, like I was very happy with how this turned out.
I totally agree. And there are some like timeless aspects and qualities when it comes to dance music, and I feel that Busty and the Bass did really respect it. But it's also like when we saw this new release, we were like, okay, this is just gonna be a jam because regardless, your past releases are really good music. I wanted to know what's kind of the inspiration, and I know this is more of an obvious question for an interview, but what is the direct inspiration and indirect inspiration for Busty and the Bass?
Like this project or in general?
This project specifically. And it could be general
Yeah,
too,
I'll answer for this project because the other one's a much larger question.
obviously.
Um, I think on this one, everyone in the band is like a huge Kendrick Lamar head. Like we've like dived into every single one of his records like way more than yeah, just collectively. And I think that when I listen back to this, that feels very familiar to me because I'm like they like his records like they put him in so many different contexts, but it is his voice that like carries through. And I think with us, there's like three voices on the whole. Not there's like three, four voices on the project that are like very consistent through lines. Um, and yeah, I think we just like went to a bunch of different places and we're pretty like adventurous with the rhythm section parts and like the textures and timbres that we chose for things. And yeah, that definitely feels very much in the like Kendrick lineage. Yeah. And other than that, I think that like stylistically, we just kind of tried to like follow each song to where it needed to go. So like the opening track is this like vibey, ethereal, like yeah, I don't know. That one I think is awesome and hilarious at the same time. Um and yeah, there's we work in like a bunch of drum and bass stuff. There's like more traditional heavy duty hip hop, um, and like a dance tune and a jazz ballad. So I think that it's like the through lines that we drew. came from everywhere. But if I had to give you one, yeah, if I had to give you one influence, like Kendrick is definitely that, because his influence is more just like in an emotion, not like a style, but just like you can do all of these things and have it feel consistent, have it feel like the same project.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know something interesting about what you just said is the way you speak about your own music. I think that's remarkable because some artists are not that proud of their own creation, and I think that's important because that's the way you make people feel what you need them to feel. So, in terms of that, I would like to know, how does the creative process work in any song? How do you guys make it? Do you do the arrangements first of everything and then you try it in a rehearsal, or how does that work? It goes from a jamming.
Yeah, I think this project specifically is so unique because most of the stuff was written like on location, like either from a jam or from like a small idea. And we actually hadn't really done a lot of that in the last few years with writing. Like we tended to lean towards like somebody would bring in more of a fleshed out idea. But on this project, I think there was only one song, like Time Bomb, the last song on the track, is like the only song that somebody had brought in like the structure. So everything else was like written in the collective vibe in the studio, which I think like just demonstrates how many different places that you can go. And then to speak to the first comment, I think I'm like able to like speak authentically and like be proud of the project because I had quite a bit of like removal from it. So it's like I wasn't really on the team that was like actively doing all of the small edits, and like, you know, I provided feedback, but I wasn't like immediately driving the bus. So I think like for me, it's nice because I would be off the ball for like a couple of months, and then I'd listen to a new mix and I'd be like, wow, this is incredible. Like,
Yeah.
I just think this is a good project. And I think like there's a certain amount of removal that's like hard to do when you're just like a couple of people head down on a project and then you finish it and you're like, I don't even know if it's good. Like, it's because we've just been obsessed with this thing and making all of these tiny decisions. But I think for me, like, because we have so many people that we're collaborating with, and it's like such a big operation, and there's like, yeah, there's just a lot of people. It's sort of a blessing to be able to like pull back a little bit and go like, wow, I love, like, I was involved with this, but like this is somebody else's like baby. And I can see that for just like the beautiful thing that it is, rather than like trying to work out my own like self-consciousness about like, this is my baby, you know?
Yeah.
You get
obviously.
overwhelmed when it's your baby. You don't even know if it's a beautiful baby or not.
Yeah.
You're so
Yeah.
immersed in that kind of system that it's hard sometimes to actually understand, to step back and to let it breathe, because that's part of the music. And coming with that, I wanted to ask two questions. First of all, did you listen to the latest Kendrick album?
Like 15 times.
Which one's your fave?
Probably Auntie Diaries.
Oh,
Like,
awesome.
yeah, I think that one's pretty powerful. Also, We Cry Together is just like the hardest hitting. Like, I was just like knocked out when I heard that the first time.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen a couple of movies with Taylor Page. Like, she's an actress as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was like, damn, I didn't know she could throw down like that. But I think overall, like for me, what hit me was just like the overall approach. And they really went in so beautifully on like the orchestration. And I feel like because I feel like there was earlier versions of this where it's very obvious. It's like, oh, okay, they brought in Kamasi Washington to do string arrangements and they hired a big string section. And this really just felt like part of the palette.
Yeah.
And I think that like, just like all of these elements, like, yeah, just sonically speaking is super amazing. And I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of what's in there. You know, like they took 5 years on this project. Like it's yeah, you know, there's worlds in there.
I'm gonna tell you something funny. Try to look for We Cry Together, the clean version. It's hilarious. It is so freaking hilarious. Just so you know, it's a whole song that it's a fight. It's two people just fighting their asses off. Like, they're just like, fuck you. Like, they're going off. Listening to a 2-minute song, just people swearing at each other, but clean. So no swearing at all. Please look that up and have a laugh because it is hilarious.
I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah.
So, what is Busty and the Bass doing now? You guys just promoting the EP? Are you guys gonna be touring close to this date? Let us know.
Yeah, so we just did four shows in the States, like for kind of promoting this project, and just got back on Sunday, so a couple of days ago. We're playing a few more festival dates this summer, and yeah, and then just working on a new project. So just keeping it rolling.
Ooh, please send us that because we'd
Yeah.
love to play that. Before we leave, I do have a question because
Yeah,
you
me
said
too.
off air that you have a kind of bondage with Dominican culture, and I would like to know certain things. We have to
Okay.
throw it in there. First of all, when are you coming to the
Yeah.
DR as Busty and the Bass, or even you just as vacations?
I mean, if we were able to play a festival there, I would like absolutely love that. To answer your first question, I don't know what your listenership is, but I'll just take the risk. I had a huge crush on a woman named Odelis in high school who was Dominicana, and I was just like completely enraptured for like 4 years. So that's
so it
my,
was a big
probably
crush.
earliest connection in where I was just like, oh, big crush, yeah, big time crush. But I was a little bit of like a shy gringo, and like
Chai gringo.
I didn't. Yeah, exactly. So that's my answer to the first part of the question.
Do you have any Dominican artists that you like?
Or that you know.
Oh, that you know, exactly.
I am embarrassed enough to say like I couldn't actually pinpoint. I may listen to some, but I don't know enough to know that they are specifically Dominican.
I'm gonna send you a playlist. That's fine. So,
Please, yeah, absolutely.
did you learn some Spanish because of this crush, or?
No, 'cause growing up in Maryland, like my dad used to work in Central America quite a bit, so I would like go when I was a lot younger. So I was just like around, like muchos hispanohablantes en mi escuela. So I picked up some.
Pero con
No,
hispanohablante
pero
y
es que
todo.
I'm gonna go Spanish porque quien sea que diga hispanohablante sabe un poco más que solo un poco.
Un poco más, sí. Podemos hablar en español por el resto del interview, and we'll see how it goes.
Está bien.
Vamos a darle.
Vamos a darle entonces.
Bueno, entonces van a en estas fechas tuvieron 2 fechas en Estados Unidos.
Espérate, más lento porque también tú hablas rápido.
Perdón, que soy loco, que me faltan algunos tornillos. Entonces, nada, decías que tuvieron en Estados Unidos y que le encantaría presentarse en algún festival en República Dominicana, ¿no?
Sí, exactamente.
Correcto.
Pero cuando yo...
¿Cuándo tú?
¿Cuándo? Oh, actually, never mind.
It's fine.
Entonces,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah.
So, I wanted to ask you, yo quería preguntarte, tú dijiste que estaban trabajando en otro proyecto musical. ¿Eso va a ser un nuevo álbum o va a ser un nuevo EP o va a ser un single? Cuéntanos un poco.
Probablemente un álbum, pero no puedo decir exactamente el número de tracks, pero hay mucha demos en el Musical Bank de nosotros, y hay muchos estilos diferentes. Ahora tenemos dedicar más tiempo por los dance tunes porque hay demasiado slow jams.
En los demos.
Sí, exactamente.
Muy bien. Y una cosa, tengo entendido, y tú me corriges si estoy bien o mal, que ustedes no han lanzado un álbum hasta el momento, solo han lanzado EPs, ¿cierto?
Sí, no estoy seguro de el effectiveness de un full-length album.
Okay.
Pero
Efectividad.
por nosotros, sí, por nosotros, los dos proyectos que han released dans the pandemic son EPs y los dos son más específicos por the vibe, pero por nosotros, like a full-length album está un gran proyecto. Sometimes that's too much and sometimes it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So ahora the full album is like something that is inspiring. So we'll see where it goes, but we have a lot of material that we're working on.
Oh my God, we're expecting that album.
Yeah, we're expecting that, obviously. And thank God you guys are doing a whole album because even though people don't like to do albums now, I personally think that is really important as an artist, because we're artists too, to do albums, because that's the main way to let people know who you are as a project, as a musician. So, Milo, thank you very much for giving us your time. Gracias por hablar español durante por lo menos 2 minutos. Lo hablas muy bien.
De verdad.
Para ser un gringo, hablas muy bien español.
Sí, lo manejas.
Necesito practicar más. Pero,
pero muy bien.
Gracias por tu paciencia.
No, hombre, muy bien.
Gracias por tu tiempo. Thank you so very much. If you guys ever come to DR, let us know. You can come to the booth. We can talk here, hang out, and whatever other release Busty and the Bass has, please send it to us. It will have a place here in our playlists and in our music and in our hearts.
Yeah, you can count with that because we have become stalkers. Right? We're playing your music without even, receiving it in a mail. So we love you guys.
Yes.
You're going to be played anyways. But if we still have this communication, it's going to be better for us and obviously for you guys and for this little market that loves you. Thank you very much, Milo.
Absolutely. Hey. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bueno, pues nosotros continuamos con muchísimo más de Radio Bizarro. Esto es música para el resto de nosotros.